Chapter 11, Camp Judson by Justin Rosales. Although we never had a set denomination, my family raised me as a Christian. My parents are both raised Catholic, but after a while, they just realized they weren't comfortable with a few of the traditions. So they taught us about morality and explained religion just enough to give us a foundation. We say we grew up in a Christian home, but they never really forced us to adopt those beliefs. They wanted to give us a choice. For a long while, we only occasionally went to church. Our highest attendance rates were around Christmas Eve and Easter. However, we never even went to the same church. We hopped around, never sticking to one place. My parents wanted to find a church where we could all feel comfortable, but by the time that I'd reached ninth grade, we still hadn't settled. At the time, I was dating a girl named Whitney. She was an avid churchgoer and was there every Sunday. Her and a lot of my other friends who attended the church would always attend these fun events in the evening for their youth group. I joined her a few times and found out that I really enjoyed the environment. I brought my brother Preston a couple of times and he enjoyed it as well. We decided to start going to that church because we just felt comfortable there. That summer, the church offered us an opportunity where they would pay to send us to go to camp for a week. My parents were extremely hesitant about letting us go to a place with people they didn't know, but after they became more informed, they embraced the opportunity and encouraged us to go. A few weeks later, we were on the bus driving toward Camp Judson in Erie, Pennsylvania. That week was full of memorable experiences. I enjoyed it so much that I decided to volunteer as an assistant counselor a couple weeks later. The people there were really open and understanding. Plus, it was an opportunity for me to learn more about Christianity. For the next 4 summers, I returned to Camp Judson as a counselor. During that time, I made a lot of good friends and even more memories. Judson was a powerful motivator for me. I wanted to do more with my life and understand how people worked and functioned. That was about the time where I was really able to focus on my passion that developed as a child. I still wanted to understand the mind and how it worked. Judson was a very inspiring place, and it made me feel like I was capable of anything. While there, I was detached from all video games, schoolwork, chores, and stupid things that I'd worry about in high school. I felt free, and that's where my mind began to wander. It was one of the few times in my life where I was able to think on my own. Petty things no longer influenced me. I wanted to change the world, and I felt like I could in a positive way. I wanted to help people. At the beginning of my last year as a counselor at Judson, I met someone that changed the way that I perceived the world. During staff training, I met a mysterious fellow named Jarrett. He always kept to himself and was very private, but when it came time for capture the flag or dodgeball, he was an obvious extrovert. When I played against him in previous sport classes, I realized that despite how quiet he appeared to be, during any physical activity, he just exploded with unbelievable amount of energy. In basketball, he was the quickest and most enthusiastic person in the game. In Ultimate Frisbee, he developed strategic plays while being a key part of the scoring process. He seemed like a good guy, but I really didn't know much about him other than what I had observed. For the 4 years that I was at Judson, I never spoke to Jarrett. Usually, Jarrett would sleep in the quarters above the office, but on one night in particular, Jarrett decided to join myself and a couple of other staff members in the counselor's cabin. Sleeping in that cabin was Preston, my brother, Jarrett, myself, and 2 other staff members. After a couple of minutes of talking about the day's events, the other 2 staff members fell asleep and began snoring. Jarrett, Preston, and myself continued conversing. We spoke about our majors and other interests in our lives. Then, the conversation moved to dreams and escalated to childhood passions. As the conversation continued, I realized that I wasn't finishing my sentences, Jarrett was. Apparently, the way he processed information was just very similar to me. He was able to understand what I was saying without me actually saying it because he previously thought those things himself. Actually, I found myself finishing his sentences as well. We clicked. There was something resonating inside both of us. It was as if my life and all my thoughts as a child were building up to that moment. Jarrett and I realized that we had a lot of the same goals, and we felt that it could prove beneficial if we worked together. From that point on, my life would no longer include a one-time attempt at an idea followed by nothingness. It would include the collaboration of someone who had as much belief in an idea as I did. We shared one mind and were willing to do anything to press forward. We understood each other, but more importantly, we had understood each other's core belief that anything is possible.